We're still waiting on the big fish, but the Phillies have made a smaller move. Well, kind of. Still a big move, though. Andrew McCutchen, brought in by the Phillies a couple days ago. Tony Del Grasso is here. I am Adrian Fedku. I am blank. I am black. I don't know what's going on, but whatever.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the episode. I'm a bit disheveled. I am unshowered, unkept, and in a Wawa parking lot right now. It's a really long story. You guys don't care, but we're just going to do the show because stuff happened and more stuff is going to happen. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Andrew McCutchen. So my first reaction was exactly the same as your first reaction. I didn't like it at first. I thought, oh, here we go. Another player we're probably slightly overpaying for who's on the downside of his career. That probably is accurate, but he's still a significant upgrade over anything else they had in the outfield. So Andrew McCutchen, um, handful of years ago was one of the best players in baseball. Literally top 5, 6, 7 player in all of baseball. Was an MVP in 2004, 2014, I believe it was. 14 or 15 was the MVP.
Yeah, one of those years.
Yeah. Guy was on pace for literally like a Hall of Fame type career. He had those kind of numbers. He's fallen off a bit. Once he's gotten into his 30s, he's going to be 32. But he's still a really good player. He's not, the 6 to 8 win type of player he was during his peak years, but he's still a 2 or 3 win type of player, which is better than anything else the Phillies have in the outfield right now. Obviously with Hoskins moving to first base. So he kind of, in some ways, replaces what Santana did offensively. Now, I know some Phillies fans are thinking, oh, what the F? It's not what we want. But pump the brakes a little bit when you factor in he's going to hit for a significantly higher average than Santana. He's going to get on base just as much, and he's going to hit for just as much power, if not more. Also factor that in with he's going to play solid defense. Now, I know his defensive metrics weren't very good last year, but keep in mind he also played in right field in San Francisco, which if you've ever seen San Francisco, that's a really, really tough corner to play. It's arguably the toughest corner in all of baseball. So I still think he's good defensively. He could play center field in a pinch for you. He's not gonna hurt, but he's definitely gonna be a corner outfielder. So with all those things, like I said, he essentially replaces Santana, and I think he's a significant upgrade over Santana. Everything else factored in.
Yeah. Significant upgrade. I would say upgrade, but I wouldn't say significant. Significant is a big word. But in terms of the upgrade, I mean, I'd say he's an upgrade. He's 32 now, so he is definitely on the downside. We talked about how it's similar to Carlos Santana because you look at the on base and you look at the walk rate, and there's some similarities there. But McCutchen's going to bring a little bit more power with the bat. Defensively, I mean, you can't really compare because one's a catcher / first baseman, the other one's an outfielder. Now, his defensive metrics, though, have actually been going down even when he was in Pittsburgh. So ever since like 2015, it's been on a decline. He's not stealing as many bags as he used to, but he'll still get you about 10 to 15. His strikeout rate isn't great, but his walk rate has gone up as he's gotten older. So that's something that just kind of happens. Your batting eye just gets better over time. So those are kind of my thoughts about McCutchen. I wasn't like crazy about it, and like the thing about deals like this, it's like if you're not crazy about something, so sometimes you'll normally get like talked into it. Like I had that conversation with you yesterday.
Right.
It's like you should always take your initial instincts and your initial opinion and just use that, because what happens is that we start seeing all the positive spins and all the propaganda by the media and just getting hyped up, and this is the stuff that we see on a daily basis, and you're not going to say nothing negative about a new player coming into town. So a lot of times it's like we see these free agents and these signings and they always get overblown. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's totally accurate. I mean, us as fans, we want the team to do well, so we want the moves to be the right moves. And even I think as beat writers and even the national reporters, they also feel that energy and they don't, not that they care who wins and loses, but they want teams to get better. They want progression to be made, and they want the fans, to feel like they're part of something and to be excited. So yeah, I definitely feel like we do often fall into that trap. Um, that's why I try to be as objective as possible. I mean, I was still one of the few people who doesn't really like the Segura trade. But like I said, yeah, I do overall think this was a good move. We mentioned off air about not just on the field. I think McCutchen does bring a lot off the field. Now, how much that actually matters, who knows? Um, but in terms of that veteran clubhouse presence, however that important that actually is, who knows? You can't. It's not really something you can quantify. But I'm more excited so much about what he's going to do in the community. He's a guy who was very active in Pittsburgh in terms of just getting youth excited with baseball and that kind of stuff. So he's going to be a guy that Philly's really going to love. Um, Realistically, you're probably talking about, maybe 260, 270 hitter, but a guy who's going to get on base, 360, 370, and he's still probably going to slug, I don't know, between 420 and 450, give or take. I mean, don't forget he's moving from one of the worst hitters parks in San Francisco to one of the better ones in Philadelphia. And his offensive numbers when he moved to Yankee Stadium briefly last year, and I think he was like 18 or 20 games. They were much. His OPS was almost 900. So it wouldn't be a shock if his offensive numbers go up just a little bit, just because of the ballpark. And I think in the back of the Phillies' mind, now, not something I would bet on by any means, but you could think, hey, maybe, just maybe, he gets a bit of the fountain of youth and regains some of his stardom he had in Pittsburgh. Now, I would not expect that to happen, but you've seen guys who have great long careers, who do have peaks and valleys in those careers, and he's still one of the most talented guys in all of baseball.
Yeah, yeah. You made the point about kind of things that he does off the field. Here's what I will say. So he gives great interviews. I mean he's really well spoken, really well spoken cat. I think he's definitely going to be good for the youth and obviously bring that veteran presence. So like when I used to be at the sports network, we would write the game recaps, right? And like after the game, we would be in charge of getting our own quotes. And the easiest quotes in baseball to get were always from Cody Ross and Andrew McCutchen when I was there. Andrew McCutchen was just like he it's like the reason why I say is that he's well spoken, but he's also well spoken to a point where he's not saying too much, and he breaks it down perfectly. And I don't know if all that makes sense or not, but I can see what you're saying in terms of like really helping out the community, helping out the team with the leadership. I mean, you see Cody Ross, like he's just a great personality too. It's like that those two guys, for whatever reason, it was those two guys that really stuck out to me all the time.
Yeah, McCutchen, actually, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago now at this point. I actually just read it again the other day. He wrote an article basically just talking about how difficult it is for lower income families to basically develop baseball players as youths, just because of how important travel teams are nowadays. And he basically talked about how there were certain individuals in his life. He grew up in Florida, and his family didn't have much money. And he had individuals help him along the way, pretty much from the age of like 12 on, that helped him, pay for jerseys and tournaments and showcases and whatnot. And he, basically just kept going up and up and up. And he eventually became a high first round draft pick. And he mentions how, his story is similar really across baseball. That's how a lot of guys happen. So many guys will tell you, oh, if it weren't for so and so, I wouldn't be here right now. And it's just really interesting because it's refreshing to see a guy who actually cares about stuff like that and actually is willing to do stuff to make a difference. It's just exciting to have another player like that on the Phillies.
Yeah. I meant to talk about this earlier. I talked about how my initial instincts were like, all right, I'm not crazy about the deal. But I will like the deal if he winds up being like a platoon player. Now, you might say to yourself, well, $50 million for a platoon player, that's a lot of money. It is. That's why I kind of equate it to the J.J. Redick situation in Philadelphia and the Sixers, where J.J. Redick got overpaid. Everybody knew he got overpaid. He got overpaid by like $10 million. But the Sixers, I mean, they had to reach the cap floor. They had so much money, it didn't even matter how much they gave to Redick. And in baseball, there's obviously no salary cap. And, well, obviously we know about the front office and how they want to spend stupidly this offseason. So maybe $50 million to them isn't even that much. So, like, I'm kind of looking at it like the Dodgers and how they play and how they like to use their platoons and the right and the lefties and all that. That's kind of how I'm viewing this. If it winds up him being like kind of like the righty, and then you have Nick Williams be the lefty, or whatever the case might be. Do you see something like that happening here?
I kind of really think it all depends on how the roster shakes out. If Nick Williams,
let's say they signed Bryce Harper, is he a platoon player?
If Nick Williams is still on the roster come opening day, I would say that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But towards no, mainly for the fact, like you pointed out, I don't think they're paying $50 million for a platoon player. But with that said, they definitely do like they do like platoons, and they do like having options, and they definitely are trying to replicate what the Dodgers do. Again, it just really all depends on who's going to stay here.
Yeah.
I also, well, off the top of my head, and obviously I don't have my computer here with me, I don't know what his splits are, so I don't know if he is significantly better hitter against lefties than he is righties. So, without looking at that, it's hard to tell. But is it a possibility? Absolutely.
Yeah. I got the information. I can get it to you. Hold on. It's on. You can find that on Fangraphs, right?
Yeah, Fangraphs or Baseball Reference. It'll be there.
I'm going down. I probably went too far already. Whatever. Okay, I'm not going to try looking for it. I should be better with my Fangraph searching. Okay, so other moves. I mean, we've got rumors here about Jay Happ. Was that something you'd be interested in?
Kind of, but from what I understand, he's already agreed to a deal with the Yankees. Actually,
oh, that's already done.
It's well, from what I understand, it's agreed upon. Just one of those things that's the team isn't going to officially announce it neither. But supposedly, I've heard he's getting 2 years with an option for a third. Would I be interested?
No, you're right. 14 hours ago, this got reported. Good job, Adrian.
No, sorry. Kind of, sort of. But like I've kind of said all along, the number one starter for me really is Kikuchi, the Japanese guy.
Yeah.
I feel like his age and his upside and what he's going to cost, I feel like he has the most potential to be not a steal, but just to get the most bang out of your buck. I wasn't huge on Corbin, especially for those years. Hap, yeah, on a 2 or 3 year deal, I wouldn't have minded it because he's actually a guy who's gotten better with age.
Yeah. It's like a Jamie Morris situation almost.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, kind of. Not same, but same thing with Charlie Morton. I had interest in, but he's gone. Evaldi, I would have had to. And Evaldi, actually, from what I heard, they wanted Evaldi in the bullpen, which I love because that shows they're thinking outside the box. They show, you saw what an absolute beast having a guy like him in the playoffs last year come in out of the bullpen. I mean, he was so valuable. So yeah, I'm not I'm not really just that disappointed, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, Hap's already 36 years old. Morton is 35, so like we talked about that.
Kikuchi's 27, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he's like he's like 2 years younger than any of the other free agent starters out there because Corbin's 30. I think Keuchel is 31 or 32 now. Lance, I don't know. Got a 3 year, $30 million deal yesterday. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on a lot of your thoughts there, especially with Corbin. Corbin got way too much money, I thought. But that price was dictated by a market that just wasn't there at starting pitcher. So sorry, go ahead.
Like I've said before, if I'm the Phillies, the money I have to go to pitching, I like I said, I would prefer giving it to 3 stud relievers than 1 starter.
Yeah.
Just with how the game is progressing, I mean, you're going to see more. I think you're going to see the Phillies use the opener a couple times this year, hopefully. The Rays
Yeah,
already.
the Rays are doing it all year long.
Right, yeah. People forget, like, the Rays are still fucking geniuses. The Rays, do people realize, won 92 games last year? Used the opener quite a bit. They're going to continue to use the opener. And since they started using the opener consistently, or at least somewhat consistently, I believe it was in like May, they had the best ERA in all of baseball. So it worked. Um, and yeah, just the idea of just having 5 or even 4 stud starters doesn't really hold a lot of weight anymore. If you could have a few guys, that come in and give you a solid 5 or 6 innings every time, and have the bullpen take care of the rest. Um, that's definitely the trend baseball's going in.
Look at the Brewers, baby. Look at the Brewers.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's literally becoming more important now to have a better bullpen than starting Steph.
I've said on I know I said on this show, and I've been saying it for a few years now. Eventually, I truly believe you're really not going to have such thing as starters and relievers. You're just going to have a staff, and the manager just going to piece it together game by game, inning by inning.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I think that's about it. Any other news regarding the Phillies? I think that's it.
I still want to say that they're definitely still in on Harper and Machado, although I feel like if I had a gun to my head, I feel like I'm not as confident as I was maybe a couple weeks ago. I've been saying all along I think Machado's going to end up with the Yankees, and Harper's going to end up with the Phillies. If I had to change my mind today, reading a lot of the tea leaves, I feel like the Dodgers are maybe the front runner for Harper right now. I feel like he definitely prefers LA over Philly.
Mm-hmm.
But just there's a lot of bullshit going on right now. I mean, I've been, if you watch MLB Network or whatever you watch, nobody knows what the hell they're talking about, to be honest with you. And it's just you're getting so much just bullshit. The one saving grace, kind of so to speak, I would say for Phillies fans that really want a Harper Machado is both of them are going to feel a lot of pressure from the players union to sign the biggest deal that they're offered. Now,
Yeah.
ultimately, they're going to do what they want, but they will feel the pressure. And I do honestly believe that the Phillies will offer one of those guys, if not both, definitely at least one of them, his highest deal. Now, again, reading kind of the tea leaves and the guys who really know the Phillies, I'm starting to believe they're more in on Machado maybe than Harper. Again, I don't know. Maybe they're just giving that look. But that the fact that the union is really going to press them to give the highest offer is, in my mind, kind of what gives the Phillies the best chance. Because deep down, I think Machado wants to be in New York. And deep down, I think Harper also wants to be in New York, but I think he also kind of understands that's unlikely. And I think Harper, if it's not the Yankees, he wants to be on the West Coast and most likely the Dodgers. So, again, I'm not ruling it out. I wouldn't be surprised. I still think the Phillies have a really good shot, but it's going to be tough.
I need to start following my initial instincts a lot more, Tony. You know what my initial instincts were about Harper and Machado? They
Dodgers.
weren't going to get either of them.
Well, I'm not. I'm not saying I don't think they're going to either. I'm just, again, just as the
Are
days.
you getting? Is Debbie Downer Tony coming out?
A little, a little bit. I mean, all right. So you just read news and you hear about the Dodgers trying to make group in their outfield and shed payroll, and their beat reporters say it's to get Corey Kluber, but everyone else seems just to think, hello, it's to get Harper, because they seem like they actually care about staying under the luxury tax. Um, Again, the Yankees, don't ever count the Yankees out. Brian Cashman came out and said the other day, I can't believe you guys are even asking me about Harper. We have 6 outfielders who be like, blah, 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 blah. This stuff could change in a day. Yankees said the same exact thing about Alex Rodriguez, 15 years ago. And then Aaron Boone tore his ACL playing basketball, and all of a sudden they had an opening for third for Alex Rodriguez. So Who knows? Who knows? I mean, apparently the White Sox are in on Harper. I think that's bullshit. I don't think Jerry Reinsdorf is gonna
He ain't going to the White Sox.
$400 million. Yeah, but you never know. You never know. So
You know, that's right, because Albert Pujols went to the Angels, and that was like so unexpected.
and A-Rod went to Texas for 3 years before he went to the Yankees. Don't forget that. Bonds went to the Giants. The Giants weren't shit before Bonds went there. So um, there has been a history of these big, superstar baseball players going to teams that nobody in their right minds thought he would ever go to. So
Harper to the San Diego Padres, where he's going.
that I think is actually might be more likely than the White Sox because
I mean, I said that like half jokingly, but like
Yeah.
I'm serious because they're weird. They're like they will spend and then they'll trade all those guys away that they spent for like 2 years later.
The thing with both of those teams, the Padres and the White Sox, they could come to Harper and Boris and be like, hey, in 2019, we might not be great, but look at our farm systems. 2020, 2021, and beyond, we're going to be really fucking good. And that's really the they're giving Harper.
Yeah. There was a report I saw today that Harper's been meeting with a bunch of teams, but one of them isn't the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that too. And I also saw the
Yeah, I
report.
don't know who that was from. I forget, but I saw that today.
And I saw the report that Machado is doing the more traditional route where he's actually going city to city, stadium to stadium. I don't know how much that actually means. I mean, Jesus Christ, Harper's been playing in Philly against the Phillies 19 times a year for 7 years. I'm sure he has some familiarity with the Phillies front office, at least to an extent. I mean, you'd have to think. And yeah, supposedly they haven't met face to face with Harper yet, but they have met Boris. I mean, Phillies and Boris have made many deals in the past. I mean, just as recent Arrieta. So I wouldn't read too much into that. And again, who knows if that's actually true or not? A lot of the stuff that's coming out is just absolute bullshit.
Well, something that's bullshit that just happened was something that was reported by Jason Martinez today. So I knew I shouldn't. I knew that the report was like too juicy to be true. You heard about that, right? With Carson Wentz and
Yeah.
how the team was withholding information. Like,
Yeah. So you're telling me a professional football team is going to not tell their franchise quarterback that he has a broken back? Oh, and that franchise quarterback is also coming off an ACL and LCL tear.
you know what?
Come on.
You know what Jason Martinez is trying to do, right? They're struggling with those ratings at the Fanatic.
Yeah.
They're struggling.
You know, Martinez is one of those guys, good guy, but I wouldn't listen to his opinion on anything other than hockey. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Did you see the Stephen A. Smith thing today on ESPN?
Oh my God.
He's talking about Hunter Harvey.
How are some of these people with jobs? And I'm sitting here like.
To be fair though, that's on ESPN because you can't expect these guys to know everything about every team and every sport. Stephen A. Smith should be talking about NBA, and that's it. Period. He doesn't know anything about anything else, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like they need to have. There's too many just national will bonds and these guys that just try to talk about everything and don't know anything about anything.
Oh, you're right about that. I mean, like, because I can go 3 sports. I can go football, I can go baseball, I can go basketball, but hockey, I'm not going to be able to, tell you anything about. I can go college basketball, I can go college football, but you're right. It's like it's difficult to try and keep track of literally everything, and even and try to have a life too. That it's like it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so that's about it. So now that we're not even talking Phillies, that means the show's over. You got any final thoughts?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys didn't mind not showing my face. I mean, you guys maybe you guys prefer it considering my face is hideous, and I did shave the other day, so my beard isn't as ugly anymore. But still, the face is hideous. So I guess that's my final thought. That is Tony D. I am Adrian Fedque. We're out. Andrew McCutchen's a Philly. See ya.
Later.